Hello, everybody. You know what time it is? It's Tuesday, so it means it's time for us to go through and recap the week we just had in the NFL. Now, looking back at our games, we started off with a correct pick by picking the Thursday night game. Told you guys Seattle was going to take that victory. So, going into Sunday, this is how we did. First game, Minnesota let me down against Pittsburgh out there in Ireland, but it's okay because after that, like I was on a roll for like those games after that. Atlanta beat Washington like I said they would. The Bills, of course, smacked up on New Orleans. I mean, I guess New Orleans did make it a little interesting for a little bit. The Lions beat up on Cleveland. Talk about beat up. The Texans, they shut out. I tell you, every week I still just feel worse and worse with Cam Ward and how it's going. But I'm telling you, eventually they are going to get their stuff together. He's going to figure it out. But like he even said himself, like they ass right now. Like they ass. Then it just is what it is, man. But CJ Stroud and them boys finally got their heads out their asses and they got a win this week. Happy they got that done. New England beat the Panthers like I said they would. I told you don't let that 30-0 game that Carolina had the week before or whatever fool you guys. They are still pretty shitty too. Then I mean, bro, hey, Jackson Dart. The Jackson Dart era is upon us now. The Giants, they stunned Herbie fully loaded and the Chargers and myself as well. And that was another one that I got wrong. I told you the Eagles would beat the Bucks, but I also told you it would be a grinded game like that because those are two teams that play just like that. That the Bucks were the one team that maybe they could put up with what the Eagles do as long as they do it in order to come out with a victory. On it, they started that game beating the shit out of the Bucks, and the Bucks started coming back and made it a little interesting, and had the Eagles' heart pumping a little bit. But in the end, the Eagles still pulled it out and did what they've been doing for multiple games now, spanning through last season. Next, we had the Colts versus the Rams. Like I said, I wouldn't be mad either way how this went, but I kind of was, of course, I was, I wanted the Colts to keep their undefeated season going along a little bit more for the sake of the Ursay for the Ursay girls, but also for Indiana Jones because that man he's been doing this thing this year. Like not like I'm a big Daniel Jones fan, not at all, but I do like redemption stories in sports where like people who were in situations that it didn't go the greatest if they're able to go to other situations and hey showcase their skills, showcase why they're in the league, and just make a whole nother name for themselves and rewrite their legacy and make sure it doesn't go down as terrible as it initially was being written. I'm all for that for people. Like, who am I to hate on someone being able to better themselves? I'm all for people like for us bettering ourselves as we are able to and being able to showcase that improvement in our skills as well. Next, we had the Jags versus the 49ers. Told you those guys were going to lose. I know they're 3-1, so it looks like they're still doing good. But that's the thing, man. They're one of those teams that, bruh, they are unfortunately going to deal with the turmoil of being better than they really should be in order to actually become a better team because they're gonna have all of those conference appearances that they've had, or even those couple of Super Bowl appearances, and they will have nothing to show for it when this is all said and done in about another season or two. I'm telling you, just wait. That's what's gonna happen with San Francisco. I know that sounds like a lot of hate that I'm giving San Francisco. I don't even really got hate against them, other than all that shit that they were talking about the Cowboys. Because they kept beating us the last couple of years, and it's like yeah, they had our number, they were beating us, but what they doing with that now? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. They're still 3-1 though, better record than us. We'll see how that holds up and what they'll do with it. Probably not shit because they usually don't do shit with it. They haven't done shit with it, just like us, since the 90s. So, eat that. Next, we move on to Kansas City versus Baltimore. Told you I love L Jack. I love my boy Patty. So this is kind of sad. I always hate when these kind of games come up. But I told you the Chiefs are going to take it because, bruh, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback playing football. He's probably the best quarterback to ever play football. A lot of people will be mad at me about saying that because I mean, of course, I mean, here's the thing: he probably is. I will understand the people who say that he's not, because he definitely played Brady and lost to Brady. So if you say Brady is, I completely understand. Brady is the goat right now and probably always will be. But I can understand people saying that Pat is the GOAT playing right now, and that depending on some things that happen in the future, he may be able to supersede Brady. But like I said, I can understand people saying that he won't be able to because Brady actually did beat Pat as Pat was playing and coming up. So there's that. But what I'm trying to say in this argument right now is Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback playing football right now. So when he comes up to playing other quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Jaden McDaniels, Jalen Hurts, all these other different Dak Prescott, all these Matthew Stafford, all these other different quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes is still the best quarterback compared to every single one of them. You may say that his team isn't the best, and he definitely doesn't. Like this thing, he definitely doesn't have like when you go position by position. Not in every. He definitely doesn't have the best position by position, what I'm saying, as you go down the team, like down the roster compared to other people. Like that's for sure. But when you go quarterback to quarterback, he is the best quarterback. People will try to argue about this guy or that guy. When in their heart of hearts, they still know Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Don't believe the bullshit. So I love L. Jack. And the Baltimore Ravens, they're a really good team. But when they play against the Kansas City Chiefs, they just do not do the shit that they be needing to do to win them games. Like they will play and have pockets and times that they'll be doing what they need to, but for the whole entire game, they will find times to mess up when they don't need to mess up, and they will all add up to the Chiefs winning that fucking game. That's what usually happens. And it didn't even need to happen like in that way this game. The Chiefs just were beating the shit out of them for a majority of the game. They were like, so it's just they got their number. They're a better team than them. The only team right now that just seems to be able to like mess with them is the Eagles, and they're gonna have to figure that out. And they will figure that out because people forget they did beat them in a Super Bowl. I know we've seen the Eagles beat the Chiefs the last two times they've played, but they still lost the Super Bowl to them before all that shit happened. So relax. They're still 1-1 in the Super Bowls if we're gonna look at it that way. So though they have to have a tiebreaker. Next, we have the Raiders versus the Bears. The Raiders let me down on this. Gentry had an amazing game that these guys just squandered and lost at the end. So that was pretty shitty and definitely upsetting. But and the people are getting mad at Gentry about talking about how he wants to have some wins. It's like, bro, he was at Boise State. Say what you want to say about them. They were winning a lot of games, and he was the man while having those amazing like games. So that's why he's like, yeah, this shit look good, but like we losing. Like he not used to that. That's what he's basically talking about, and he has to understand. It's like, yeah, you are on the Raiders. Y'all gonna lose a shitload. Like I thought you like that's why they were in position to get you because they sorry, but he'll understand. I mean, that's the thing between him and like Crosby, that's the thing. Pete Carroll will definitely like help revamp that team. But people got to understand like these teams like that, they are works in progress. Like people get there, but oh, we got these players, we're gonna be good. It's like yeah, you will be in like 3 years. So get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, get ready. You gonna be here. You gonna have a shitload of games where y'all gonna be losing. You gonna have some games where you gonna have like 3, 4 touchdowns in, and y'all still gonna lose that fucking game. It's gonna be very devastating. But you gonna have to get through that shit because eventually you guys will be good and you guys will have opportunities to play for things that matter. Now moving on to the Sunday night game with my Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers. The return of Micah to Dallas, the long anticipated game that everybody talked about. And hey, it lived up to it. It was a good game in the sense of the defenses weren't able to stop anybody offense. and these motherfuckers ended in a tie, a 40-40 overtime tie. Like they went to over. Like I mean, that's the only way you could tie. You have to go through overtime finish. Now, what I will say about it is ties are bullshit, and I hate that that happened. But I'm not one of those both teams decided to like deserve to win this game type of guys. Like or it needs to be a moral victory. But what I will say is that it's like with what happened and what played, either team taking a loss would have been so devastating for either of them to keep putting all that shit on the line and just to keep answering and coming back after that one did this and they scored, you know what I'm saying? So that's I was like I will say that it would have sucked for either team to have lost that game, but it kind of sucks for the fans and everybody that like it did, and of course the players that it didn't end in a win or a loss for somebody that ended in a tie. And this is one of those crazy things that's going to be very stupid for like the standings and the playoffs and shit later depending on, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna this team having a tie as opposed to having a loss is gonna help them have a higher seed than some other team later on down the season, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, because they did have that tie back in September that was 40-40, like. So that's an annoying thing of this that's going to come up later that no one's going to care about right now or even think about too much. But later on, I'm telling you, some sportscaster, somebody on some show is going to talk about like that stupid tie that the Green Bay Packers and that the Cowboys had back in September. Somebody's going to bitch about that. Like it's going to be some shit like which. I understand, and that's why it's like, but if you guys want to do away with that, you got to figure out some way to fix doing away with ties. Like whether it be like, hey, you motherfuckers just got to play until somebody else scores and it ends with this and that, like, or y'all gonna have to figure something else. Debate on it, they can do that. Kind of sucks, but hey, as we said right now, those are the rules, and these two jokers, they both tied. And I guess it's good because it's just like, bruh, the shit that would have been talked about the Cowboys losing to Micah in Dallas would have been awful, and the shit that would have been talked about Micah losing to the Cowboys in his first like go back and like, oh, did they win the trade and all that, all those talks that would have happened, they're still going to kind of happen to a degree, of course, but they don't happen as like loudly, and it isn't like it doesn't dictate the entire like sports week for football now because of it. So and that's a good thing. Like that's a great thing that we don't have to worry about that. So we can move on. Micah can settle into being on the Green Bay Packers. We can settle into not having Micah on the Dallas Cowboys and each figure out what we're gonna do on our own respective teams until we meet again, which may or may not be in the playoffs again. If it happens, we'll talk about that when we get to that, when we cross that bridge later, or we may not even have to ever bring it up again because we won't have to deal with it. So we will see. So that was Sunday, guys, and we had a good pick of games that game. We went, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4-1 is what we went on Sunday. So hey, man, that was a really good day in itself. And then we also have Monday Night Football that happened yesterday. Another doubleheader. Picked both of these right, which brought us, of course, to 11-4-1 for the week. But talking about that Miami game briefly, prayers up to Tyreek Hill, man. He's done for the season. Reports have already come out about that. I think they said it's his ACL. I don't know, but I know it's in his knee. That was awful, man. Like the video of it was terrible. Seeing it as it happened, he was having a great game that game too. I mean, like he was on he probably would have caught a couple touchdowns that I know I would have loved to see that because I have him in fantasy, but also just it would have just been good to see Tyreek like it's always good to see the cheetah having a great game. Like when he's on a heater, like when he's catching like everything, burning defenders, and he's got like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Like those are amazing games to watch. Like those are really interesting games, and he was looking like he was on pace for that, but unfortunately, season is over with, and I mean, God knows what is going to happen from here for him because I mean, God knows if he stays in Miami or if he does go elsewhere. If he goes back to Kansas City, like I've been wanting him to do and saying that he needs to do, we will see. But it just kind of sucks. But and it sucks that like he got hurt in their first win of the season too. Like he didn't even get to finish the game and enjoy the victory with them like that. Like he was immediately rushed to the hospital, put in the cast, and like now he was already like pretty banged up. Now he's got to definitely just start rehab for that, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season, and God knows how much even longer going into the next season or and where he'll be. Like I said, but they got a victory over the Jets, like I told you they would, because the Jets are still ass. Hey, Justin Fields was out there and he had a really long touchdown run, so that was cool to see. But they're still the Jets. So they're still trying to, and I feel bad. The same way I feel bad for Cam Ward in Tennessee and how I'm like, man, they deserve a win and I want them to get one, is the same way that I feel for Aaron Glenn, the new head coach of the New York Jets, because it's like, he has got such a tough job of trying to make the Jets good. And it's going to be so difficult to do. But he's had them look decent in so many games this year that has just resulted in not a win. And I feel so bad for him, like I feel for Cam Ward, because it's like eventually they will come, but it is a progress, and it's like unfortunately for him, in comparison to Cam, like when you're a quarterback, they're going to give you and especially as a rookie quarterback, they're going to give you those opportunities to mess up and like get better. But as a head coach, it's like you only get so long. Like they only give you so long of a leash. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you look like how I look, they only let you mess up and have losses for so long. And it's like starting off 0 and like 4. Will they give him the entire season? I hope they do. I hope they give him the entire season and all season and a whole another couple of seasons to try and like work this process. Like I said, it's a few year thing that needs to happen, but I hope that they don't just give him like 8 games or give him like, oh, we're going to give you the season and yeah, you were terrible. So like I hope that doesn't happen for him because he's a good coach, as you can see, and they are trying and they're in these games is just unlucky for them. But last game of the week to end out our video as well. We won't spend a lot of more time because I've already spent almost 20 minutes talking about all this stuff. That we will end out with Cincinnati versus Denver. We don't got to talk too much about this because Denver beat the shit out of Cincinnati like I told you they were going to do, because I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and them boys. But when Joe Burrow is not out there, the Cincinnati Bengals are ass cheeks. Like they are a Pop Warner team basically, because for some reason whoever is under center who is not named Joe Burrow, they just do not understand how to throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins consistently enough through a game. And it's ridiculous. They even got Chase Brown back there, and they just still do not understand how to put it all together offensively unless Joe Burrow is at the helm. And even when he's out there, that line will have him running for his life, and he has to do so many amazing things in order to make them good. So when he's not out there and you don't have him, they are ass cheeks, is what I'm trying to say. Like, is what I'm trying to tell people. And that's why it sucks so much that he gets hurt, and why it's such a problem for their organization, because he's been so hurt in his short young career, and they've looked as shitty as they have before he got there. Like, yes, he had that 1 year that got him to the Super Bowl, which they lost. So it meant nothing. Like, people have to understand that. And we are getting so close to people really holding him accountable and the Bengals accountable. And I feel so bad for Joe and them because of that, because he doesn't deserve it. He is still, in my opinion, the second best quarterback in the league when he is out there. Yes, above Josh Allen, above Lamar Jackson. I put Joe Burrow right behind Patrick Mahomes when he is healthy and playing the game of football. So it just sucks that he hasn't been able to be out there as consistently. And I just hope that, like, these injuries and things are like what's happening early on in his career, and that after them he has a very long healthy career of just always being out there and being able to just show people how amazing of a quarterback he is and how bad of a like just how bad of a man that he is on that football field, like, and to be able to continue to like utilize the talent that he has in Jamar Chase and T Higgins for this time that he'll be able to, because this is a game of football, man, and like it's such a brutal sport and people get hurt every single game, and it just sucks that like they don't get to all be out there and have the benefit of having their talent all be there at once and be able to click and play every single game. Like it sucks so much that I'm just like, dang, I it's like I do want that for the Bengals. Like I'm happy that Matthew Stafford and them boys won that Super Bowl. Like I really am. Like and I wouldn't change that. But it's like it just sucks so much though for Joe Burrow that it's like he hasn't been able to be out there and stay healthy enough since then to show people like, yeah, like he's still one of them dudes. Like people are starting to forget. It's kind of like how with Herbert, a few like everybody was getting to a point where they're like, hey, you got these numbers, but you're gonna have to start showing us some shit. And that's what he's been doing this year, and he's on a mission to do that this year. Like how Josh won his MVP last year, like he had to like really put it all together to show people and cement like, yeah, bro, I'm one of them guys. Like these quarterbacks have to go through these things. They each have their own like personal battles and things, and not all of them, not all of it, like not all of them actually like need a Super Bowl. Like not all of their personal battles and things that they need to accomplish and do are win a Super Bowl. Like I mean, the majority of them are. Like don't get me wrong. The only people at this point who really like it isn't the goal of them having to win a Super Bowl is at this point basically like Pat, Jalen Hurts because they just won last year, like Matthew Stafford and them. But basically, I would say like yeah, every other and even them, their goal is still winning one because they got to rack them up to show people like it wasn't just a fluke. But outside of them, it's like yeah, everyone else has like the goals of winning a Super Bowl. But even on top of that, you got Josh Allen who like Josh right now. Josh has to win a Super Bowl, but it's like he needs to beat Lamar and like Pat Mahomes on the way to that Super Bowl. Like he has to get to one, but it's like and exactly to do that, it's gonna mean that he went through one, if not both of them. So like he has to do that in order for his like legacy and for what he does and like everybody who loves him for them to have like yeah, like what I'm saying, for them to basically be able to talk the mess that they want to talk, like Josh has to do that. With Lamar, it's like Lamar has to get to a Super Bowl too. He has to beat like yeah, he it's basically the same thing. Like Lamar has to go through and he has to beat Josh and Patty and them and get to a Super Bowl and then win a Super Bowl. Like that's what those two have to do. Outside of them, like you got Herbert. Herbert just got like he just has to solidify himself as one of like the top five quarterbacks in the league. Like he's got to beat a couple. He's got to beat one or of those guys in the playoffs and everything like that this year. Like have great numbers, get to the playoffs, beat like Lamar, Josh, or like Patty in the playoffs, and have that pelt on his wall. Like have that in his resume. In order, like that's what he has to accomplish this year. He doesn't have to necessarily win the Super Bowl this year. Like if he does, like that just you really is doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like if he does, but if he doesn't, as long as he does that, like it'll be a successful year for him, as it will be for like if Joe can come back. I mean, at this point, it's like honestly, at this point, the year is pretty much done for Cincinnati. Like Joe don't really need to come back. It's another one of those years of like Joe's probably just gonna need to sit his ass down for the rest of the year because by the time he comes back, they're gonna be so in the hole. It's not gonna matter what the hell he does in trying to get them out of that hole because they're not gonna make the playoffs. And even if they did make the playoffs, they wouldn't do shit in the playoffs. So it's just unfortunately, you got to scrap this year again. You're gonna have to hopefully get a couple of like pieces in the offseason that help fix a bunch of like the holes you guys have and throw the dice and draw. You know what I'm saying? Try again next year. That's just what's gonna have to happen with Cincinnati, unfortunately. But that wraps up our Week 4 recap in the NFL, guys. It was another great week for me. We are at 41, 22, and 1 for the year. It's over 64% on our picks, man. Doing good. Like almost 20 games over 500. Told you guys gonna have to start putting money on these picks, man. I'm gonna be putting them out as quickly as I can so that you guys can get them in. This week's gonna look a little differently. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm gonna be driving to Virginia Beach for my best friend's wedding, starting tomorrow on Wednesday. So honestly, I probably won't even be able to, and I won't be back till Sunday. So I probably won't even be able to put out any videos or anything for the next few days. I mean, I'll probably put them out. I was like, I'll be able to put out a video for tomorrow, Wednesday, and if I get like, that's the thing. If I get the graphics for the games for like Thursday and even Sunday, then I could do it and put them out before I leave tomorrow. And at least I have my Sunday picks there. I won't necessarily have my Monday night picks, but honestly, if I get those out, I'll be able to put those Monday night picks in either Sunday night or Monday. So I still probably will be able to get my picks in. It just depends if they get all the graphics and things on the NFL like ready enough between today and tomorrow is what we're gonna have to see. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know what I'm saying? Take it easy. Make sure you look out for my picks. Get you some bread off of it. You know what I'm saying? Put them in if that's your thing. If you're into gambling like that, go ahead and do that. Do some degenerate gambling behavior like that, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you guys did on y'all's picks. Like I said, I am 41, 22, and 1 for the year going through after we finished 4 weeks in the NFL, and we still have 13 more weeks to go. So we're gonna see how we finish off the year. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe, guys. Love you. Peace.